Door-to-door sales, the most controversial job over the last 50 years, has recently came back into popularity as a way for kids who got D's in high school to try to make some money. And it's all because of one word: Mormons. Just kidding. If you guys don't know, my name is Aaron Shablowski. I'm launching or in the process of an investments and tax strategy firm specifically for sales reps. And I used to own a home service company before I sold it last year that mostly grew through door-to-door, so I have a lot of experience in the industry and what it actually looks like. I promise by the end of this video, you have a clear understanding of what door-to-door is and why it's so popular and if it's maybe even right for you. We're going to go over what it is and why it has become so popular, what is the actual good and what the numbers and the facts are of how much these guys are actually making. And then 3, we'll go into some of the stuff that they maybe don't tell you about. So let's jump right in. Door-to-door sales is as simple as it sounds. You go out, you knock on doors, and you try to sell people something. However, it's become really common in a few different industries for companies to grow almost exclusively through this. And for certain industries, namely solar, pest control, and home security systems, it really is the best way to reach as many homeowners as possible. And the process is pretty simple. You go sign up to work for any of these companies. They'll give you a script, drive you out to a neighborhood, and you're off to the races. Now, for a job where it seems like you get doors slammed in your face all day and everybody kind of hates you, why is it so popular? Well, if you've ever been on Instagram or talked to a door-to-door sales recruiter, they sell you this lifestyle of you and 8 buddies all living in a room, competing against each other, all fighting to try to make as much money as possible, and there's no limit on your income, so you can make millions. And they're not wrong. A lot of times the door-to-door lifestyle is just that. It's very competitive. There are numbers that go out and track exactly how much you made, how many sales you actually closed, and how much your commissions are compared to everybody else on your team that you're competing against. A lot of times they'll group into things called blitzes, where guys will just go to some area for 2 weeks with some company they've never even worked for before and just start selling their stuff and see who can win the most. A lot of them will have random prizes like shoes or watches or things like that. And the community is very tight-knit. People in door-to-door are very proud of what they do. It's seen as gritty and tough and not for the weak. And they're right. This is not a job to get into if you are not tough. And so with this, let's dive into what door-to-door sales actually looks like. Are these promises really true? Well, on the good side, yeah. The reality is the average door-to-door salesperson makes between 80 and 120K a year, with some estimates saying between 120 and 150K a year. And there's a couple things in this number that don't exactly make it accurate. For example, the vast majority of people who come out, which we'll get into in the next session, don't actually end up making any money or make very little. So that average being high shows that there's a lot of really, really high incomes that are pulling up the donuts. And 2, a lot of door-to-door sales guys don't work 50 weeks out of the year. A lot of times they work in 6 month or 3 months, groupings. So a lot of the best guys really are making somewhere between 10 and 25K a week. And there are guys that can make between $5,000 and $10,000 on just one close. And now think about how this fares against the rest of the job market. You have guys that are knocking on doors selling solar making 10 to 25 grand a week, when there are college graduates from the Wharton School of Business that are struggling to get a job that pays 80K a year. College has gotten more and more expensive for jobs that are really not that valuable. So the opportunity of making this kind of money without taking on any debt is huge upside. And some of the goods of door-to-door are true. If you are a bachelor and you don't, have any obligations, you don't have a kid or something, and you can just travel around the country to go knock on different doors, this can be a great lifestyle for you. For example, I know a group of guys that I think are from San Diego, and they're just 8 dudes. They all sell solar, and they just go get Airbnbs in different cities every couple months and go knock on doors and make tons of money doing it. There's no debt involved. It really doesn't take that long to learn. And if you are any good or competitive or gritty, there's no limit on how much you can make. And the bonuses and the lifestyle is huge. The fact that you can work 6 months out of the year and just chill for the rest is absolutely insane. And this doesn't even mention what it looks like to build a sales team. See, in door-to-door, when you get really good, what you start to do is recruiting guys to join your team. And now say you made 400 grand, 300 grand in commissions that last year. Now you're going to be taking a bit off of what every guy under you makes. And in reality, there are guys that are making 7 figures doing this, and not like a group of 12 of them. There is a lot of door-to-door sales reps that make high 6 figures, over 7 figures in income, take home pay, all by building sales teams and building a personal brand, and they get people to come work for them and they just go and dominate. And so you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in college, I'm trying to make a job that makes $80K a year, and these are guys making this much money doing that. Like, why don't I just go do that? And the upside is real, but there's some things that you should factor in before making this decision. So let's talk about the bad of door-to-door. Well, first off, the job objectively kind of sucks. And I think most of them will tell you that. I remember in my time doing door-to-door, it is a lot of fun knocking and everything like that, but you have severe down days or things that are struggle. You're walking around, it's hot out, and you get told no. You get doors slammed in your face all day long. People tell you to get off their property. People get pissed off at you. It is an objectively difficult job. But a lot of the guys actually lean into that and see that as the fun part of it, as 20-year-olds without any logic do. The statistics show that the average rejection rate for door-to-door is between 95 and 98%. And for solar, it is 98% for qualified leads, meaning that 1 out of every 50 doors that they knock on is somebody that is qualified enough to maybe then sell. Things like pest control are usually around 95%, which means about 1 out of every 20 to 25 to 40 doors they are getting a sale, which is absolutely brutal. And also, when you factor in things like the law of large numbers, when they go knock on 100 doors, they might not get a sale. It takes a really long time to actually get those percentages to even out. So you could easily go 4, 5, 6 days without making any money. And keep in mind, most of these jobs are all commission. They might give you an advance or a place to stay for a month, but if you don't make any sales to pay that money back, you're out. And the average door-to-door churn rate is around 35 to 40%, with some saying it's as high as 70% fail. And that's after they've actually made it through a season. Most times in door-to-door, 7 out of 10 people will be out of there in their first 90 days. And only 1 out of 10 will actually make it into a long-term career. Door-to-door is not for the weak. And also, the commissions aren't as big as people quite think. For example, the average pest control commission could be anywhere between $300 to $800 usually, which really isn't that much. But when you're knocking on doors for 8 hours a day for 3 months, you actually can start to rack up pretty good numbers. And that goes back to some of the downside. See, a lot of these door-to-door companies, they preach to you that this is a gritty, hence the grit, is a tough job. It's a very difficult, thing that you have to be a dog to get through. And so a lot of their working hours are you're knocking for 12 hours a day with meetings in the morning and sales trainings in the morning. And you're doing that 6 days a week. And that's almost always weekends because that's when most people are home. So you might get, say, like a Monday off. And there are brutal quotas. If you don't sell, you're out. It is an extremely tough career to get traction in. And it's just not something that is sustainable. See, you don't typically get to sell in your home neighborhood. Usually you get sent to another city, another state, all the way across the country to go sell. And so this might be really good if your lifestyle is, 19 to 23, 24 years old and you're a bachelor and everything like that. But when you get to 30 and you have a wife and kids, might not be as suitable of a lifestyle. And also, they're not usually sending you to Miami or New York City. Usually it is in the middle of nowhere. And so if you are willing to live in the middle of nowhere, work 6 days a week for 12 hours a day, getting told 98% of the time no and to get off of my property, completely alone, completely isolated, except for your boys, I guess, and do this for months and months on end, year over year, and you can make it, you learn to sell, you will be rewarded. If not, you will be kicked out almost instantly. And this is the overall dilemma of the door-to-door industry. See, the lifestyle that the recruiters and the Instagram posts sell you isn't fake. People are actually living that way. They are having a great time and being ultra competitive and making tons of money, but you have to be able to last to get there. So how do you know if door-to-door is for you? Well, I'll tell you this. If you have no idea what else to do with your life and you are a decent looking person and you have the ability to talk, door-to-door is something that you should consider. Not enough people are doing it still. Even though it seems like everybody's rushing into it, people can't last. So there's always room for more. And it's an industry that's not going anywhere. Post-COVID, the industry is completely blown up. People still need solar panels, home security systems, pest control, window cleaning, all of it. And if you're not interested in going the entrepreneur route where you you need a bunch of capital up front, you need to learn all these different systems, this is a great way to isolate and learn one skill. And there is a lot of value in bettering yourself. See, most door-to-door sales reps are in really good shape. A lot of them have great relationships with God and are very thankful and are very hardworking people. These are the young, successful people that you're actually going to want to network with. Almost every single billionaire out there will tell you that the skill you need to learn is sales. And it gives you the freedom, because most of the time you can live pretty cheap in these different areas, to stack 50, 100, 200, 300 grand that you can now use to go start your life doing something else. Overall, I have a huge respect for the door-to-door community, hence why I'm building a business helping there. I started out as a door-to-door guy. I did it for a long time, and it was so much fun going out with the boys and knocking on doors, and you can make great money. The feeling of making your first sale and realizing, oh my gosh, I just made 10x what minimum wage is so amazing that you will never want to do anything else again. But when I would bring my teammates out, I made it very clear: you don't get paid unless you sell something. So what do you think? Do you think door-to-door guys are young hustlers or just people that piss you off every time they ring your doorbell? Make sure to subscribe and like. It really supports me in making this. And if you're a door-to-door guy and you're interested in getting your finances or taxes handled, make sure to reach out to me. I cannot help you yet, but when my firm launches in the next few months, I will absolutely change your life. However, I love hearing what all you guys have to say. Comment below what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.